Being stuck in the sandwich generation is tough, but there's hope for those in the middle. We'll talk more about it after this.
Let's talk about love and marriage, the way that God intended. Life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. Will help your spirit transform.
Hello, and welcome to the middle. Welcome to the middle. We're here, another episode of the No Fruit Podcast, and Maurice and I are going to talk to you all a little bit about being part of this sandwich generation and dealing with our parents and our young adult children, how to manage all of those things and what it's like, or what it's been like, at least for us, trying to manage it all with doctor's appointments. And I find ourselves kind of talking to our parents almost the same way we're talking to our kids. Make sure you eat. Make sure you do these things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what that's been like for us, and how we've been trying to handle it and manage it. And then if you have tips and tricks for us, we hope that you would share those with us in the comments, because it's tough being here in this sandwich generation. I think a lot of us are dealing with it as the baby boomer generation is getting older, and we I guess I'm a Gen Xer, and having to manage my parent and all the things that she's going through. And sometimes it gets tough because I now have to take the phone calls of, hey, or of what's going on in her life, where I didn't have to do that 10 years ago. So I'm following up with her. Hey, did you take your medication? Hey, did you go to the doctor? Did you follow up with this person? How are you feeling today? I'm getting the phone calls of that she's not feeling well, just like I did when my kids were little. Of the nurse calling saying, hey, your kid don't feel good, please come and pick them up. Now I'm getting the calls to pick up my mother because she doesn't feel well. So it's just been a challenge to kind of get into all of those things. And it's just been tough. And I'm losing my voice.
I mean, so do you need some help over there?
I think it might be okay. It'll come back. But it's just been challenging. It's been rough.
I mean,
it's pulling from me.
I mean, and so what Kafi just went through, in my opinion, is a pure example of what it's been like looking at the parents, because at times, you hear them come out strong, and then you start to see where things are starting to change in mid stride, if you will, just like Kafa just did, losing her voice and, can't clear her throat, whatever it might have been.
Whatever it was, something just didn't want me to get that out.
And that wasn't even planned. Like, and Kafa's over here waving me on to kind of, Maurice take it over. But it's like, I'm looking at him like, well, no, that's part of the show. They're
gonna hear the truth.
And so I think what happens is that, unfortunately, as Kafa stated, being in the sandwich space, we're trying to be as understanding and on top of the all the above. The challenge with that is that our goals and dreams, and I'm gonna speak personally for myself. My dreams and my goals and aspirations, all those type of things, are not the same as those that are before us, and so the expectation for me to be right there is not the same, because I don't have the typical 9 to 5. And because of that, it's hard to gauge, hey, is Maurice available or is he not? So because those are people that are in that whole entrepreneurship, guess what? There is no time off. Now, that's also the difference between working in your business and on your business as well. And y'all can hear about that on That Will Never Work podcast. Of course, hosted by yours truly. And we talk about those type of things. But even if you're working on your business, it still doesn't stop. And so, because you're looking to continue to grow and touch more people and become innovative and all this type of thing. So a lot of times in this space for myself is challenging because you want to be there, but on the other part it's like, like I'm really trying to set something up for the generation after us or generations after us, where I don't believe our parents cared. I don't. Now, that doesn't mean that that's not true, right? I think they do care. But I think overall, like, they didn't care to think about generations after generations after generations like I'm considering. Whereas, like, hey, my offspring is okay. I guess, they're responsible for their offspring. Whatever. Like, and I know that sounds kind of crazy. No, but it's just the way they maneuver for me.
Right. I think, and we've talked about this on the show before when we talked about generations and where both of our grandparents owned a home. So they had that foundation, they had that thought, whether that was thinking about future generations or whatever, like maybe because, of whatever their upbringing was, they had in their mind somehow, some way that, or maybe there was a discount. Like maybe everybody's going around just giving out houses and said, hey, buy a home. Mm. And they bought homes. But, both of our parents did not buy homes. You know what I mean? Whether they rented or things like that, lived with the family member. Yeah. So like you said, they were thinking more so about the here and now, mm-hmm. thinking about a little bit of themselves. Mm-hmm. But with that, what scientists and what I've heard, news or whatever else, that they also wanted better for their kids. So that's why we had, we had more of name brand clothes here and there. We may have gone on a vacation. Like I don't hear very much like our parents say, oh yeah, we went on a family vacation or we went on a family getaway, necessarily other than maybe a family reunion type thing. I know your family kind of went down to visit their siblings, your grandparents' siblings, but it wasn't like where we have had family vacations and things like that. So I think there was just a difference where that baby boomer generation, I think they put their kids through college or they put themselves through college a little bit. So I think there was just a little bit of a difference, like you're saying, in reference to what their thoughts and beliefs were in reference to themselves versus them establishing something for generations to come.
So I have a question. So you would say that in your position, you believe that your parents put you through college?
I think they encouraged me to, to go to college. My mom did.
That's not the question. Mm-hmm. They put you through college?
They didn't pay. My mom took out a loan one time.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. They didn't put you through college, right? And so,
do you think this feels as though we put our kids through college?
I would say, to a degree, yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say that because of your decision of where you worked, mm-hmm. right? Your decision for where you worked at the university where they went through, right? They were there. So to some degree, yes, you put them through college. You paid for it, right? The idea of putting someone through college is paying for it. That's the general idea, So in that space, yes, you did. So, and on top of that, because now I'm a put a spin on this. As I think about what that generation, our parent generation,
Mm-hmm.
what mode were they in? They were in survival mode to a great degree.
Right. There's
And
a lot
so
going on in their youth, being the wars and
I think it was
Yeah.
more to it than that. I
Okay.
think it's just
free
everyday
love.
life. I think it's just everyday life. That true paycheck to paycheck mentality, right? Robert and Peter paid Paul, whatever else might have been going on. But if you take a look at, even for us, relatively the same idea, it trickled down to us,
Right.
to, whatever. But what happened is that we got a little more hip to the game, just a little more of saying, hey, you know what? If I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul, if I got to work through this, well, Maurice, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to work at the university that our kids are going to attend.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to push that agenda. That's what will end up happening. At least giving them that opportunity to. Right? And so, and then hold on for a second. Now let's take it a little further. You get to that university to work there, and you start to listen to other people within that university who's staying there 30, 40, 50 years, and they're putting whole families through that school,
Mm-hmm.
whole situations through that school. And so now in the back of your mind, you're like, so that's how because everyone does not have the money to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's not getting student loans for half of the stuff that they're going through and what they're doing. They're not getting all that done, right? And on top of that, someone like myself, because you're still there, at least I get 50% off or whatever it might be, right? So I get a benefit as well as a spouse. So guess what? So now you're looking at a whole family, a whole situation that is educated,
Mm-hmm.
but the information may not have necessarily been as readily available for our parents at that time.
Right.
Because the parents before that, being our grandparents, and I can only speak about my grandmother directly, who really encouraged, because that was the part of the idea back then too, of working for the government. And so that was really encouraged by my grandmother to her kids, and she tried to enforce that on us, her
Right.
grandkids.
But, but again, they encourage what they knew. So like you said, your grandmother's
Yes.
encouraging the government because that's what she knew. Just like you encourage our kids, work for the university.
Well,
because that's
but
what you know.
no,
And you see the benefit.
I don't know working for the university.
Mm-hmm.
I go based off of what you're stating, and I'm going based off of, one, what you were able to provide by working for the university. But then number two, listen to the conversations that you're having of, yo, you get to go to school for free. Yo, if you're here long enough, you get to help out other people's situations or whatever it is. Also, yes, y'all get stuff done, but it's in a more relaxed environment.
Not every place, I'm sure, is that more relaxed. But
No. Here's what I
okay.
mean by relaxed. What I mean by relaxed is that because in corporate America, every minute costs money. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's not like that in the university. But not only does it cost money, but there's an educational component to that as well. You're helping out kids. You're, whatever it might be. Like there's other parts to that other places don't provide. In that minute to minute, hour by hour situation. So for yourself, yes, you can. You're working, but you're also helping out. These I forgot what you call student workers, right? You're encouraging these student workers to not just work, make a little bit of money on the side, whatever it might be, to balance out student loans, whatever it might be. But hey, you know what? What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? How does this job, support what your next steps are. As you're looking at some of the what's the people called that you're with now? The students that you're with now that work.
Graduate students.
Graduate students, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something with them is, hey, this is moving them on to the next level in their career,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a different level of ministry, quote unquote, if you will, in that space. So that's why, for myself, where, hey, kids, talking to our kids, consider. Because do you understand? I mean, y'all, first of all, y'all like going there to a degree. And then understand that because you really want to help people and you really want to see people grow and whatever it is, you get to actually see that in that environment. So that environment allows you to see almost a full maturation of people walking in anywhere between 16 and 19 years old. And when they walk out at 21 to 25, 26, you be like, oh, wow, you grew so much. And you're like, like they're your kids, So those are type of things that, why I encourage that type of job.
It's just funny. A lot of things that you were saying, you were saying them like you're talking to our kids. And again, this show is on being in the middle. But a lot of things you were saying, I was like, I remember you talking to your mom about that. I remember, us talking to my mom about that. Like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, why do you work here? Why don't you do something else? Like,
Mm-hmm.
all of these encouraging things with your mom. Like, hey, what do you want to do in your retirement?
Right,
What do you
right.
want to, what do you have to give back? Like, hey, you could help these people out
Mm-hmm.
in the ministry type thing. My mom, she works little part-time job, and you're like, well, why do you like doing that? And why are you doing it? And that
Mm-hmm.
type of a thing. So, again, just the same conversations that we have
Mm-hmm.
with our children and motivating them.
It's funny that you keep calling our parents children. Because
No.
you said because you just mentioned how I talk to the parents, and then you said motivating the children. Are you putting them in the same?
No, I'm saying you're motivating both.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm
got you,
saying
got you.
that everything that you do, in this sandwich generation, things that you do with your kids, you also are doing with your parent. That's what I feel.
I am. That doesn't mean everyone is doing it.
No, and I'm not saying, and I'm just saying for us. Like, I'm
Right.
talking, in reference to us.
Right.
Our daughter had an injury at work, and was like, I have to go get checked out. And we're like, oh, okay, good. And she's like, then a little more information came out. Oh, I have to go after work. Okay. And I have to get this. So it's just finally we asked the question, are you saying all this because you want one of your parents to
Right.
go with you?
Right.
And she was like, yes.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And then the next day, my mom sends a message. I don't feel well. Okay.
Right.
I think I'm going to go to the ER. Okay. Then she's like, can somebody get me?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just always, that juggling act, but also the conversations, again, that you have with the one you're having with the other,
Mm-hmm.
just again, as our oldest is venturing out with her real job and now has her own health insurance and has her own things. And it's just like, okay, we have to give her reminders like, okay, remember to get this, that, make sure you pay that. Make sure you do these things with the insurance. And it's like, likewise with my mom, I'm like, hey, Mom, like, make sure you follow up with this and make sure you're doing that. And it's just the same conversation. So I just wish that I could just record the one conversation and just play it back. Play it back to the other person.
Just keep it generic.
Yes.
It's almost like a it's AI out there, right?
Yes.
So basically, you know how y'all call customer service,
Mm-hmm.
and if you say yes, it goes here.
Yes.
And if you say no, it goes there. Yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah, I think maybe I need to put that as my new message. Like, if you're calling for
Right.
this, press 1.
I mean,
you're
don't even say press, because some people not going to want to press anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just speak it.
Just say yes.
Just say, hey, Hey, how you doing today? What's going on? Okay. What would you like for me to do? And then once that goes, because technically that's a yes, it goes here. Well, today I'm making grits right now. So, whatever it might be. Or, oh, okay, you really don't want me to do that? All right, fine. Well, just make sure you follow through and whatever. So that way, yes, I'm making grits. I ain't got time. No. Or no. Okay, just follow up and have a nice day.
Yes.
That's it. So but like you're stating, because of the space that we're in, yes, we are in a position of asking relatively the same type of questions. Relatively, hey, what do you want to do in the next 4 to 5 years? Because I know for myself, I keep asking myself that same question and making sure that I stay on track. And so I'm only going to ask what I'm trying to do for myself. I don't want to be in the same place. Now, talking to y'all, I don't have a problem with talking to y'all. But the questions, the ideas, or whatever it is that we're sharing here on the podcast, and as we're speaking to y'all, you should see and continue to hear maturation in our conversations. You should hear progress. We're not going to talk about, well, in 3 years, well, we're still celebrating 25 years. No, we 28 years old. We're about to be 30. What's going to change now? Again, real life stuff, right? So when we were 28 for real, and when I was 28, I had a 3 or 4 year old. I had a 2-year-old. So guess what? My life wasn't the same. It definitely wasn't the same when I was 25. So 25, 25, you were pregnant when I was 25. So, in that space, what was my life like? I was, so
Oh, goodness.
I'm excited. There's a whole lot going on at 25.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that on another show.
And so that's what I'm saying. Even with this show, we're 20. If we're going based off of my life at 25, then yeah, we're pregnant. We haven't given birth yet. You get what I mean? So on this show, you should be able to hear the maturation of, hey, you know what? The baby's here. Life has changed, and now the baby's a toddler. Oh, wow, the baby's a kid now, so, oh, wow, you know what? That's a true transformation. We ain't got to worry about diapers anymore. Yo, that's a whole nother life, and actually we feel free. So, then we can do other stuff.
Some of the sandwich generation stuff, will we have to change diapers later on in life?
I don't know. I'm trying to make sure I got money to pay somebody to do that.
So.
I mean, but see, and here's the other part too. What I've heard more than once recently is that the generation prior to us are almost duplicating the generation before them. And saying, hey, how I hurt, how I can't move, who I feel like, whatever it is, like, whoa, 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 whoa. You complain about them in that space, right? Do better. Like, that's my mentality. Do better. If you already know that's what the situation is, and or, again, the other part of that is, if you think that is, or maybe you haven't thought of it, I know I think about it, if it is a family health concern,
right,
do better. Stop the bad habits, or whatever it is, so, and change it. Change the narrative. Now, let's understand there's some things that is easier said than done. We understand that part. And we are totally aware. The challenge with that is that you can't always expect for others to take on your challenges either. You can't do that. That's not fair. especially in the position that we're in right now, of people are not doing the typical 9 to 5s, and or their 9 to 5s are not the typical hours either. Like our daughter, she has a 9 to 5 job. It's not 9 to 5 hours though.
Right.
And at any given time, like she just talked to us about it last night. She said, "Oh gosh, if I was at work, I know I'll be doing a 16." Just like it's, but she's so used to it right now of fluctuating between an 8-hour day and a 16-hour day. Right. She's so used to that. Well, in our reality, when she's home, do I have the opportunity to rely on her, in all honesty? How fair would that be for me to say, "Oh, wow, baby girl, I'm all jacked up. Can you come help me after you just worked 16 hours? And you got to turn around and go back to work?" Yo, that's not fair. So I have to be able to understand that as of right now, especially I'm not our parents' age, but I have to prepare for that moving forward, of saying, hey, in 25 years or whatever, I need to say, I've done these steps to get to a better place. I was diagnosed with gout.
Yes.
And so with that, I had to change my diet. I had to understand that I can't eat as many processed foods. I understood that I can't eat as many shrimps as I would like. I can't eat as many steaks as I would like, or lambs. I can't eat as many lambs, so why are you laughing? I used to like mushrooms. I can't do mushrooms. There's a lot of stuff that I can't eat because what I've learned is immediate blow up situations. I'm making up words because that's how it felt. And for those people that have had gout and have had gout flare-ups, you totally understand where I'm coming from.
Right.
Because it is not, Kafa saw me in those moments of pain.
Yes.
It is not pretty. And I can't get comfortable. I can feel it coming on. I remember when we went on a family trip, we was at a family reunion, to Kafa's point of a family reunion. I remember that I had to take my shoe off, walking around Washington, D.C. with my shoe off because my toe was hurting.
Not this is prior to being diagnosed.
That's prior to being diagnosed, but not knowing that's what was going on. And so I'm walking around D.C. with one shoe on, one shoe off, walking around with this, with my shoe in my hand. It was craziness. Not knowing that it was the pre stuff going on.
Right.
So, so in that is all right, old school people, pay attention to what you're eating, yes, please.
And we just had that conversation with one of the parents.
And she was like,
but I like that stuff. Again, and Maurice was just sharing his experience that, hey, because he's been diagnosed with this, he can no longer do that. And I don't know, because he's still in his 40s, he can make the decision to say that's what it is. Maybe those over 60, almost 70, in their 70s, hey, I've been doing it this long and whatever. Okay, well, guess what? Maurice didn't have gout in his 20s.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he can't be like, well, doctor, I always ate steak and, surf and turf, and I never had a problem. So I don't understand, and I'm just going to continue to eat it. Oh, well, the doctor's going to say, okay, and you'll continue to be in pain, sir.
Right.
So again, to those who also are going through stuff, hey, ma'am, sir, if you've been diagnosed with something and they're telling you, make these changes, perhaps make those changes.
Right.
Because it'll change things.
And no one's saying to stop. Like, you
right.
don't have, it's not like I've stopped eating shrimp. Right. And that right now, that is one of Kafa and I's favorite lunch on Fridays. When she worked from home, that's our treat to ourselves.
Yes.
Right. That's our little quick midday lunch date.
Yes.
Bang bang shrimp. But excuse me. So again, it's in moderation. Now it doesn't happen every Friday.
No.
But that's a midday treat. Hey, you know what? As much as I like steak, the beef that I might get the most might be a cheesesteak. I don't do too many ribeyes and whatever. But when I do, I might do it once every 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. I haven't had lamb because the last time I had lamb, unfortunately, immediately. It was immediate.
And it was so sad. Oh my goodness, because it was the holiday or something like that. Like
it was Christmas. I had it for Christmas.
And we had made so much lamb. We had it for the holiday, and we had some wrapped up and for like to have later on.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what it was? I bought it for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then we were supposed to have the second part of that for Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, something
like that. I don't know.
Because I know I don't eat that much, so I'm like, all right, I can have it in a month.
Have it for New Year. I don't know. It was like a short, So we had, he had seasoned it and whatever. And we had wrapped some up to put in the freezer or whatever to eat later. And I remember saying to him, I'm like, what should I do with this? And you were like, just throw it away because I can't eat it.
Right.
So, you make those tough decisions, of what's going to make things better.
Right.
And keep you healthy and keep you safe, And again, like I've been saying, this is the sandwich generation. We do the same thing with our kids. Hey, what are you eating? What's causing this? Like, I think you're just looking at somebody and you're like, hey, you're breaking out. Like, what's going on? What are you eating? And not to say that everything is coming from what you eat. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times what you put in your body does come back out.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't always come out, flushable. Sometimes.
She said flushable. That's funny.
That was my cute way of saying it, I thought. So sometimes it comes back out in your pores and your skin and your hair, cute. So thank you. So we're paying attention to all of those things. And like Maurice said, we're also being mindful and taking note so that we don't cause issue to our kids, moving forward with, as he said, hey, if somebody just worked to 16 or we're not asking them to drive us to the hospital and sit with us. But nor do we want to keep them in the dark, because I think that's the other hurtful, hard part that we have in this sandwich generation. Is like, we'll talk to a parent and then they'll be like, oh, yeah, I fell 4 times last week and I can't move my leg.
Well, part of that, too, is that
like,
they don't want to hear the questions, though, either. They're like, well, how did you fall?
Yes.
Why did you fall? Sit yourself down.
Wow, how long were you laying there?
Like
you didn't call anybody?
Like I said somebody the other day, like, why are you working so hard?
Yes.
Right? I asked the question. Mm-hmm. And so, or, hey, you know what? I'm just getting out the hospital, but you know what? I'm going to go and still eat, go out to eat dinner. Well, hey, does that make sense?
Right. And
what did they tell you to do? But you're making a decision to go against that. Well, again, the challenge is, what do you want us to do? Mm-hmm. Because if you have a problem, to some degree, you deserve it, maybe. Because if you don't listen, right? I mean, isn't that what happens when we don't listen to God? He punishes us to some degree, right? It could feel like he deserted us. He hasn't deserted us. It's just that he gave us free will, right? We made a decision that might have gone against his will, and he was like, all right, you want to go against it? Well, guess what? Here's the consequence.
Right.
Right? And the reality is that I don't have to pull you out of that. That's not, and so sometimes I'm not saying I have a God complex or nothing like that, but it's like, did you not listen? What lesson are you supposed to learn from this? Like, you get what I mean? And understand that sometimes it's not a situation of everybody's not going to always be there. So how do you take care of yourself when you have to be there by yourself? What do you have to do in those situations? Do you really like, Lord, really, please help me through this process, help me through this situation? And I think, and that's kind of been my perspective lately. Hey, you know, are you leaning on the right places and spaces? Are you leaning on the right source?
Well, sure enough, makes me lead on the right source dealing with these things.
But again, it's, why is that though? Right? You know, because are they not connected? Are they not whatever it is? Or do they, you know, are people get so caught up in me-isms that they're not doing what they really need to do for me? Right? Like in their mind is, hey, I'm gonna do this, but I understand that and I also in that space know it affects this, being, you know, whatever the body or whatever it might be, but I'm not ready to deal with that being the long term or the true outcome. Well, don't do it from the beginning then. And you can't expect for someone else to jump up just because. And that's been some of the challenges, and having people understand you got to deal with that. And just because you saw some other people in our lives call for you and you jumped or whatever it is, it's not going to be the same for everybody else after. It's not. And it can't be, because in our reality, did you jump all the time either? So that's why. So it's just kind of like, you know,
at what stage did you jump?
Right.
So, you know, hey, again, if we're talking about those who are in their 70s, when their parents or their elders were in the 70s, what was going on? You know, were you still working? Were you still, you know, living your best life?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you did things when you had time and availability.
Right.
Not, oh, you called, now I'm there. Now, that may have changed when the elder got into their 80s, 90s, 100s. You know, now you are now in your 80s or whatever, and you have that time. You're no longer working. And you can jump up and go and sit down and have tea and soup together. You can ask questions, and you can be an advocate, because that person's now upper in age. And, you know, sometimes those that are in the medical world, or, you know, even other things, like if you, and I've noticed this, like when I have been a caregiver for someone who was in their 80s or 90s, if I'm with them and they're going to the doctors or they're going even to the supermarket, those people who are in the customer service will address me, even though it's pertaining to that person. You know what I mean? Like, they'll look at me like, all right, that's, you know, $47.60. I'm like, okay, well, they paying for it.
Right.
It's their stuff. I don't, you know. Or the doctor will say things, you know, and they'll look more at the younger person in the room. You know, and that has happened. So, you know, it just, some of the things that, like you said, where, I guess my question is, you know, where were those individuals that are now looking for that to happen?
And I will, let me tell you my own experience.
Yes.
Based off of something you just said. And which is, because it's like dealing with one of our family members where they were concentrating more on one issue versus the issue while they're there.
Yes.
And so the problem is like, well, are you hearing what the customer service person or the medical person is asking? Like, is that computing? Like, so you're talking about something that's totally different, and then you're getting frustrated because the service that's being provided is not the service that you want. Well, that's not what you said your problem was from the very beginning.
Right. Right.
So
And it may be because those people who are providing the customer service and the medical attention are younger, so they kind of look like they give us that eyeball, like, help me, like, help translate, what I'm saying to your care, your the person you're caring for, your family member. And it's just like, hey, that's what they are looking for. So, and then I can kind of remember what the situation was that you're referring to. It's tough. It's tough for us being in the middle. It's tough for those that are providing that customer service.
I mean, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, really?
You done flip things around.
So it's been brought to my attention that this is an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation,
You want to talk about something?
you want to talk about something totally different. And now it's like, so it wasn't an emergency then.
Right. And you brought these people out.
So what do you want me to do now?
What do you want them to do?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was stuck on me. No, and I'm saying because I was stuck on me because of, like you said, now I am in the middle between you and the professionals.
Yes.
And so what do you want me to do? I can't co-sign your issue because that's not what I was called for. I was called for the main issue. Right?
The emergent issue.
Which is why
we thought was emergent.
They were called. That's why they were called.
That's why the emergency was called.
And now all of a sudden we're here for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And you want me to
talk
be
about how we can't get the light bulb in. Like
and I'm like, all right, so we need to deal with that. Like that's more urgent than the other situation.
Mm-hmm.
But then also let's understand too, in all reality, the urgent situation is also something that you won't deal with, right? I mean, and this has been consistent across the board. Like, so we're not talking about one particular situation. It's almost like our life the last couple of weeks has been the same situation across everybody.
Yes.
So it's like the urgent issue or the emergent issue cannot be handled because in all reality, that situation is based off of their life decisions.
Mm-hmm.
The other situation that they're talking about or dealing with has nothing to do with the urgent issue or the emergent issue, but they won't deal with the real situation or things that led up to the urgent issue, in all honesty. So it's like, why are you not handling the real problem or the real culprit to your ongoing issue?
Right.
Here is your problem is this. You don't want to deal with it. Why?
Why can't you see that, like you said, that is the nucleus and everything else is connected to it.
Right. And so now you're frustrated because I'm not responding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, oh, wow. I don't have, what's the phrase? No tea for the fever mentality. So I'm sorry, I come up, all these old school.
I never heard of that one.
Oh yeah. So all the, hey, I don't come off sympathetic or whatever. No, because I'm listening to this logically, not emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I have emotion and feel all sad and bother, whatever it is, off of a decision that you made? It's not my decision.
Right.
It wasn't. And then you're frustrated because I'm not sad. I'm not saying, oh, woe is me or whatever it is. No, I don't. I don't feel that way. Because if the shoe was on the other foot,
yes,
or you would be like, oh, and keep talking about yourself. So the problem is that it's no fun when the shoe is on the other foot. It's not.
Yeah, I don't like wearing my right shoe on my left foot.
Okay, somebody else's shoe is on your foot. Because people are not aware, and so being stuck in the sandwich space, because, the seniors know way more than you. You'll never know as much as them, whatever it is. That's the mentality. And the kids, or the younger people are like, hey, you don't know anything. I know it all. So it's like.
And see, for me, some of my seniors are, well, I and some of yours as well. Well, I don't know how to work that computer thing, and I don't know how to find it out. And you and Maurice, y'all know so much. And, if you could just help me find.
So there is a situation where it depends on who the person is.
Yes.
Because there are some people that literally do not have a computer. I mean, and so for some of that, I understand, but they also have a library that they keep referring to that is 118 years old. And so the way things are handled today are nowhere near how they handled it back in the Stone Age. So they're not literally taking your prescriptions from the tree and mashing it up on a rock. Like, you get what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not that basic anymore, so, or that strenuous, because that might be a whole lot of, whatever. But anyway, but then those that are actually computer literate and that's on a computer, you have every opportunity to do the exact same thing, or is it just pure laziness?
That's why we have you guys.
You don't have me.
So
you could do it yourself. And here's the other part of that too. You're not going to like my results because my results aren't what you're looking for. Because if you really had me look, I'm going to look for what's the best interest for you, not just today, but 2 or 3 years from now. So, and then, and they're like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. All right, well, look it up then. So I think those are some of the things where we're dealing with being stuck in this sandwich spot, and the sandwiches ain't always good. It's greasy. It's like the other day we had a cheesesteak, and that's the only reason why I brought up the whole cheesesteak thing earlier. We had a cheesesteak the other day, and it was nowhere near what I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
it was more like again, from Philly, everyone has their preference. And there are times where I want a cheesesteak hoagie, right? So that's what I had. I had a cheesesteak hoagie, and it was more lettuce and onion on it and hot peppers. Like, I asked for sweet peppers. It wasn't, I don't know if I had one sweet pepper at all.
Wow.
And then the steak, albeit it was tasty, but there was not a whole lot to taste. So I was savoring that one little bite that I could with the steak in the bread or whatever, because everything else was salad. Now, evidently, there was some great being that said, Maurice, you need to eat more green vegetable or something. So maybe that's what I needed to have, but it wasn't what I anticipated.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. We have this thing where we just keep trying different places. Like, we don't have a one go-to all the time. Like, we have a good go-to Philly cheesesteak place. Like, if someone says to us, someone from out of town is like, oh, I want a Philadelphia cheese. And we're like, first of all, it's a Philly cheesesteak. So we have a place to go to. The line is long. The wait is long. They don't answer the phone. You have to go in person. You make your order. You might even not even be able to stand inside. Like, it's that crowded. You got to stand outside, sit in your car, wait forever to get it. But when you get it, it's like,
and it's overflowing. And
it's overflowing.
Yeah.
The cheese, everything kind of melds together. Like, I don't want to, like, one bite have onions, like Maurice said, and then another bite have a steak, and then another bite, it's just a cheese sandwich.
Right.
I need all that to, like, go together.
Right.
I needed to know that it marinated together, it lives together, it wants to be together.
Right.
Just like in a relationship, it all needs to be together. So we keep trying different places.
Yeah, we do.
And we need to stop. Because we just
we just haven't
been happy with the other
I think
locations.
some of the places are just kind of like, hey, we're trying it or we're lazy or whatever it might have been. Don't feel like driving. And here's the thing. The other day when I got the cheesesteak, I was supposed to be walking because it's walking distance. I still drove.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't feel like walking.
That's what made us choose that place.
Yeah.
Again, and it's because it's places we don't frequent. We don't, they could have changed the cook. And maybe the last time we had it, it was okay. But this time it's like, ugh.
I mean, it wasn't, it was good from a taste perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't because of the other place that we've been frequenting, I'm like, Right.
We had our mouths, I think, a little bit set for that.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, I disappointed myself.
Yeah. Yet again. And we kind of do a cheesesteak thing maybe once a month, once every other month. So I think the time before we did the same thing. We didn't feel like waiting. And we kicked ourselves for that as well. And sometimes we let other people choose.
Yeah, because I was going to say that one was not necessarily our decision.
Yeah.
It was, hey, we allow one of the children to make a decision. And, I'm like, oh, well, we used to go to that place before, but yeah.
But they didn't even get a cheesesteak.
They didn't.
So, yeah.
That should have been
our sign right there. Yeah.
Even
last night, even when we did the steaks.
Yeah, he didn't even get a cheesesteak.
The other person didn't get a steak.
Yeah.
They got a pizza. And, enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, So, but, that's what it's like to be in this sandwich space. Sometimes you enjoy it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you understand, like, hey, I need to continue to go this path because,
go for what you know.
And part of it is comfortability, but it's also the experience as well, so. Well, we thank y'all very much for listening, and let us know how what your life is like if you're in a sandwich position, and if you're dealing with both the seniors of your family and the young people of your family. If you're dealing with that, how you're dealing with it.
And what you're doing to get through, because we need to know.
And if it's giving you challenges like it's giving me right now, just like it gave Kafa. Shoot, just thinking about it.
We're coughing. The show is a sandwich.
Pretty
Kafa
much.
coughed in the beginning and couldn't get it together. Now Maurice is coughing and can't get it together.
So,
but
we thank y'all very much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Talk to y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Fruit Podcast, where we bring you fruitful conversations, ripened wisdom, and love that's deeply rooted. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration in their day. Until next time, stay rooted in love, and remember, every seed you plant today shapes the fruit of tomorrow.